Alright, we are back for round 2. The opponent won the die roll, so I assume he will be on the play. The opening hand is pretty good if it's a fair matchup. If he's playing any sort of combo deck, we're definitely going to need some help. But game 1 against combos oftentimes just going to be kind of bad anyway, so I think we're going to keep this hand. Okay, looks like maybe goblins. I don't see us attacking with Mutavault next turn regardless, so I'd rather get the Tropical Island to be able to daze if need be. There's not a lot of cards that we would daze here, but certainly some. This is a pretty reasonable hand against goblins, though. We really actually like to get Crystalline Sliver in this matchup because the goblin, they have the Gem Palm Incinerator, can certainly be a bit of a problem. Using black for goblin spell. Interesting. Grenzo. Haven't seen this card before in goblins, or in any deck actually, so definitely in uncharted territory here. I think that we want to just get pressure on the board here. I mean, he has the cavern that we could wasteland, but I would rather just get the predatory sliver in. It looks like he's going to be playing a bit of a longer game with things like Grenzo, like not much fear of an aggro goblin draw here. Violin and a lackey, that's fine. Like I said, really what we're worried about here is Gem Palm Incinerator. Obviously we can just block the lackey just fine. If he has Tarfire, that's also a bit of a problem, but yeah, this is Tarfire here. Not really a lot that we can do about that here. I don't feel like wasting a daze for that. Hopefully he doesn't put anything bad in like Goblin, like Ringleader or like Siege Gang Commander or something really nasty. Yeah, Siege Gang Commander. So this game's probably just about over, unfortunately. Probably hang around for like another turn or so just to kind of see what's going on here. His ability costs 2. So if we wasteland his cavern here, he's only got 2 cards in hand, which is a plus for us right now. We wasteland the Cavern of Souls. We're going to play a Muscle Sliver and then violin another one. And hopefully he doesn't have Gem Palm Incinerator and another land or something to that effect. Pile Driver would also be pretty bad for us. Yeah, there's the Pile Driver. I think that this matchup's not great, but it's not horrible either. So he did draw the second land. I believe that this can deal damage to creatures as well. Yeah, so probably he's going to 86 the Muscle Sliver. Him only having one card in hand, we're not in the worst shape here. I mean, he can't attack with much, I don't think. Probably attacks with, you know, the Pile Driver, maybe a couple of the 1/1s. Yeah, that's where he's going to go ahead and attack. Tough blocks here. I think that I'm actually just going to go ahead and take 6. Goblins doesn't have, like, anything to really burn you out for the most part, so I think I would rather just be able to block with the Muscle Sliver when it has the 3 toughness rather than, like, when it already has 2 damage marked on it. Trying another Daze is not ideal. So we're just going to go ahead and play another Mutavault here and pass the turn. Got Bile all the way up to 4, so maybe he's got Ringleader. There's just so many cards for him that just pretty much end this game on the spot. Yeah, he's Viling in for 4, so I have to imagine this is a Ringleader. So unless he gets really unlucky off this, we're probably just going to lose. Okay. It was interesting that he decided to do that with the trigger on the stack. I'm not really sure why he would do that. Okay. He's playing a lot more value cards than a lot of the Goblin decks do. I don't think that he has any great attacks here. We're certainly trading Mutavault for Pile Driver if he attacks. It's not an ideal draw either. So he doesn't have Cavern, so we can actually get some value out of these Dazes at this point. If, for instance, he draws like a land and then plays like Goblin Warchief or something, we'll definitely use a Daze there. Ghost Quarter. Yeah, so he's just going to go for the Warchief. That's okay, we'll float blue here and Daze that. Probably vialing into Wart. So we kind of need to draw like either a Gale Rider Sliver, which probably won't be enough, or like Swords to Plowshares would certainly help. Maybe even need like a Brainstorm into a couple of cards would be the most ideal. Another land. So I think we need to actually just start attacking somewhat, because we're just not going to win the game at this rate. So if we animate here, it's going to be a 4/4 attack. If he wants to kill it, then he's going to have to double block, at least. We're going to get pretty good value if he double blocks, so I'm okay with that. If he just decides to take it, he goes to 16. Then if we draw a Gale Rider, we can kill him. Oh, well that was less than ideal. Yeah, we were very unlikely to win that game, but certainly with that misclick, it was definitely the end of that. Alright, so in this matchup, normally I don't like Grafdigger's Cage against Goblins for obvious reasons, but he sure seems to have a lot of graveyard synergies in the way of like Wart and Grenzo, so it's possible that it's worth it. Maybe even Caracas for the same creatures. I think we're just going to go with our general game plan against them, which is board in all the paths and board out all the forces. On the draw, we'll probably bring back in Force and take out Daze. It's a pretty common thing to do. Daze is just way better on the play, and you don't really mind losing the card advantage on the draw as much. So, all right. I do think that this is one of the weaknesses of Slivers, that you're kind of a dog to a lot of the other tribal decks, similar to the way that Merfolk is. I think the matchup against Merfolk is about 50-50, maybe slightly favorable, but your matchup against all the other tribal decks is pretty bad, so try not to run into goblins or elves, but it does happen, and unlike Merfolk, we have at least 8 removal spells, so hopefully we can get there. Alright, we will choose to play first. And this hand is keepable. This is one of the other benefits of playing this deck, is that we get to play cards like Brainstorm, and the card is just so much value. It's the best card in Legacy, and it's not particularly close, so. I like this hand a lot on the play, because we get to play our Aether Vial and then Daze his Aether Vial, hopefully, so. And he is on a mulligan, so that's pretty good for us. We're going to get a Tundra here. He might Wasteland us, so we may have to get another Tundra again, but can't really afford to play basics in this deck, so it's just not really something we can play around. And if he's wasting his first turn wastelanding us, that's totally fine. Alright, no turn 1 play. How interesting. I'm just going to jam with the Sinew Sliver here. Again, Tarfire is a pretty much worst case scenario here. If he plays a land and has Tarfire, we're a little bit behind, but anything outside of that I feel pretty confident against. Cavernous Souls into a powerful 2-drop would be pretty bad. Okay, so he does have Cavern. Makes our days look significantly worse, but even so, with him not having the Aether Vial, I still feel better about this game than the last one. Chromox. It's definitely playing an interesting list. It's possible that I'm just not up to speed on what Goblins is doing these days, but to me, this strikes me as something that he's kind of brewed up, or that is quite a bit under the radar. He exiled a ringleader to it. War Chief, okay. He's gonna play a Matron. Maybe if we get to game 3, we'll bring in Harmonic Slivers. I don't like him against just Aether Vial, but if he's going to be having Chromoxes and things like that in his deck as well, Harmonic Slivers certainly does get better. I think we're just going to brainstorm now to see if we hit like Gale Rider Sliver, which we did not. These daisies are getting worse all the time. Certainly don't want multiples. Yes, we would like to use the ability. It's pretty close there between playing the second Mutavault or drawing the second Daze, but I think that if we draw the second Daze, we're probably going to have a hard time winning this game. So that's why I inclined to play the Misty Rainforest there. He's already facing down a pretty real clock here, and he's going to get to kill our Vial, but at this point the damage has been done pretty much with the Vial, so not super concerned about that. So we probably want to make sure that we keep our white sources, so we'll get a Savannah here. I doubt if he's playing Wasteland with all the non-basics he's playing, but he still could be, so definitely want to have double white. And a Muscle Sliver, okay. So the nice thing is that most of our creatures are out of Gem Palm Incinerator range. I mean, he can block and then Gem Palm a Sinew Sliver or something to that effect, but that doesn't seem super profitable for him. So basically we just need to not be dead here, which seems unlikely from 18 life, but he's also playing a list that I've never seen before, so anything's possible. If he plays something like Siege Gang Commander here, what does that do for him? Not really much. I mean, it gives him some chump blocking fodder, but that's about the size of it. He would have 5, 6 blockers, and we would have 5 attackers, yeah. Alright, so we got that one. His draw seemed pretty awkward, and our draw was fairly aggressive on the play. So again, I like to get rid of the dazes on the draw, because it just can't afford that kind of tempo loss, and put in these Force of Wills on the draw as well. Yeah, we're definitely going to just side in this Harmonic Sliver. Probably take out... It's kind of tough. I mean, Muscle Sliver is definitely the bread and butter of the deck, but probably it's better to take one of those out than like Gale Rider or Crystalline Sliver. Crystalline Sliver is going to be pretty great in a lot of situations, and Gale Rider will just allow us to fly over for the Alpha Strike. So we'll just go ahead and take out one of the Muscle Slivers. It's important to remember that Harmonic Sliver is not a May ability, so it can certainly come back to bite you, but it doesn't happen very often. This hand definitely needs a second land, but playing a lot of fetches, plus brainstorms to draw us into lands. Not really sure. The payoff certainly seems there. I mean, we have everything that we want here. We have the Gale Rider, some removal, a Crystalline Sliver, and multiple Muscle Slivers. It's really close, and I might just be too greedy keeping this hand, but I think that being that our one land that we do have can cast both Swords to Plowshares and Gale Rider Sliver, I think it's a keep, and any land we draw can cast Crystalline Sliver since the Tundra produces either side. So yeah, we're going to try this hand. Hopefully our opponent doesn't lead with a turn 1 Vial. Lackey's fine. Lackey we can manage. We drew the land. So we're probably more inclined to just Swords to Plowshares here rather than play the Gale Rider right off the bat. Getting hit with the Lackey is pretty much something you can't let happen. And with the likelihood of him having, either Tarfire or some other play to really punish us for playing just the Gale Rider to block, I would rather just use Swords to Plowshares there. And we'll go ahead and lead off with a Crystalline Sliver, and then next turn we'll try to just punch through with a Muscle Sliver and a Gale Rider. Actually, you know what? It's probably, if he's missing land drops and not really playing anything, I actually just like wastelanding here and then playing a Muscle Sliver. Especially since we don't have to worry about things like Pyrokinesis anymore, because all of our Slivers have Shroud. He's in a pretty bad spot here. I think we're probably somewhere in the 80% to win this game at this point. I'd be interested if he cast a spell there, since he didn't have mana to cast a spell before when he was on 2 lands. I'm not sure why he would fetch there, maybe just playing around Stifle or something, It's one of the benefits of playing a rogue deck like Slivers, is people just generally don't know what to play around. And the other really great thing about it is people really underestimate the power level of this deck. Like, I've heard people refer to it as bad Merfolk, but I actually think it's better Merfolk. Yeah, I mean, obviously this draw worked out really well with us drawing land right off the top, but even so, I just think this deck's incredibly powerful. Like, I mean, you can see here we have an army that has Shroud and Flying. Like, there's very little our opponent can do to win this game. that pile driver does not save him, so. Apparently he's not a fan of our deck. See, again, like I said, people really underestimate the power level of Slivers, so oftentimes people get upset about it or just play badly because they think that you're just a derp playing Slivers, so it really is a huge advantage that can't be understated, so I encourage everybody to try this deck out and tell me how you like it. I mean, I've been doing pretty well with it so far, 2-0 in this daily, but yeah, we'll be back for round 3.